People usually want the outcome that content gives them, but have a hard time committing to the path required. But the good news is that confidence is not a prerequisite to creating content. Honestly, so what if you're not confident on camera? There are people who are completely insecure with very little confidence, but still have the outcome that you want. A lot of videos will tell you things like, be prepared, write your scripts, write affirmations, fake it till you make it. And yes, that's all good advice, but doing those things isn't the miracle cure to make you be a certain way. Affirmations and positive thoughts are a great coping mechanism and can help encourage the thoughts to become reality, but belief is not just a light switch that you can switch on and off, especially in high pressure situations. For true confidence, you can't affirm your way past the effort required to really instill this. Stress, failure, disappointment, and maybe even embarrassment are often the prerequisites for growth. Because confidence, true confidence in your abilities, in yourself, is earned through action. As a kid, you only became confident in riding a bike because you got on the bike with training wheels, eventually took them off, fell down several times, scraped your knees, and then the next door neighbor kid, Kenny Wilson, called you a loser, then rode off into the sunset riding his bike with no hands and popping wheelies while you walked home with your tail between your legs, all the way home bloody and bruised. And to ease the embarrassment, you'd go out early in the morning to practice riding while it was still dark out and you could at least fall to the pavement in peace until you finally got the hang of it and felt the bliss of the cool wind in the air, just you and your bike. The thought of finally being able to ride along with the cool kids club of the neighborhood, the visions clouding your mind until you drove yourself into a parked car and bent your handlebars. Thankfully, no one saw that. Strangely specific scenario aside, when people ask how to get more confident on camera, I usually first tease asking why they're afraid of the camera, when it's a piece of metal and plastic, right? Like, let's get real about that. The camera is not what you're afraid of. You're afraid of judgment, of stepping out of your comfort zone, of criticism. Consider that you're going to be judged anyway, regardless of what you do. Don't expect or try to be confident all the time. This is great news, especially if you struggle with confidence. Confidence is the key word that people think they need to have when on camera, because typically we imagine that being on camera means we have to be a leader for people to consume this content and believe in what we have to say. That may be true, but let's also redefine what it means to be a leader. Being a leader doesn't equate to being perfectly polished and postured. The kinds of leaders that I personally like to follow are the ones who are real, raw, vulnerable, and dare say, even able to admit that they are human. They make mistakes. And that's typically the prerequisite to becoming a leader, right? It's making mistakes, it's failing, it's getting up more times than they fall down. One of the biggest reasons people don't create video content is because they think they have to be perfect on camera, and then they over-rehearse, they overthink it, and this might come as a surprise to some people, but over-rehearsing can actually make you appear less confident on camera. When you over-rehearse a script, you run the risk of overthinking and trying to make it perfect, and it translates into a video where you sound too robotic and leaves no room for organic reactions and your authentic personality to come through. So many bloopers in this video. Twinkly fingers, hand gestures. So if you're trying to be perfect on camera, don't. Perfection doesn't equal confidence, and confident people aren't perfect. There was a movement in the 1960s after a bunch of psychologists did some studies and came to the conclusion that the most successful people, success, meaning those who had high grades, adults who had a good stable career, and those who made a lot of money, had a high level of self-esteem. And so that became the tagline for so many things. If you have high self-esteem, you'll be successful. Self-esteem is seen as the end-all be-all for society. Cut to the present moment and the ghosts of those studies still linger. We still equate self-esteem to being successful, and if we don't naturally have it, well, tough luck, we're meant to be failures for the rest of our lives. But there's another group of people who have high self-esteem. Criminals, mass murderers, polarizing political leaders who should be locked up. That should give you a gigantic clue that having high self-esteem doesn't necessarily make you a good person, in the same way that having low self-esteem does not determine whether you'll be successful. Self-esteem is how we intrinsically feel about ourselves. Confidence is about our competence, our belief in our ability to perform. So when you push your limits expand. As entrepreneurs, we're a rare breed who constantly are pushing our limits, which likely means we won't always feel confident or certain. So it's more important that we let go of the idea that we require confidence to take action. So get out of your own way. I was on a trip with our friends, Alex and Leila, and we went to this rope course where you're harnessed in and several stories up, navigating a big obstacle course, like way high up in the air. And I'll never forget this moment. We're up there, and of course, all like wobbly legs and adrenaline pumping. And I'm like, Leila, are you afraid of heights? And she's like, yeah, totally. But that's no reason not to do it. And that line set off a chain reaction for me in so many other areas of my life where maybe I believed that I wasn't insert characteristic enough to insert action. You know, Leila has actually, she's talked about this more in her content. She's such a powerful influence for me and has really helped me to shift my own thoughts or limiting beliefs. If I think I can't do something because of XYZ, then I ask myself if it's pursuing the action that will earn the confidence. Because the sky's not the limit, the belief system is. I'm scared of heights, but that's okay, I'll do it anyway. I suck at making videos, that's okay, I'm gonna do it anyway. I suck at XYZ, but I'm not gonna get any better by not doing it. Most of the time, I just need to get out of my own way and be comfortable with failing. A lot of people avoid creating content because they don't want to fail at it. Of course, who would want that? But failing is not the same as labeling yourself as a failure. Entrepreneurs confidently go after what they want because they understand that failing is part of the process. One of my favorite writers, Mark Manson, says that comfort in our failures allows us to act without fear, to engage without judgment, to love without conditions. Being comfortable with failure is a much harder task than me telling you to script out your videos, but it makes you dig deeper and not only translates through your content, but through other areas of your life and your business as well. Because I can teach you how to script your videos, how to record a video, and all the external techniques to appear confident on camera, but it's not gonna teach you to be confident in your life. Of course, taking action, like actually scheduling a filming day, getting in front of a camera and reading a prompt is a step above not taking any action at all, but only focusing on external sources of confidence can only get you so far. Brené Brown says you can't get to courage without walking through vulnerability. And vulnerability is about being real with your flaws. There's freedom in admitting weakness. That is real strength, and that's confidence. And it takes a hell of a lot of humility, vulnerability, and courage to be comfortable with failing. So now that we get you taking action, because action creates confidence, I'm gonna send you to the next video that's gonna show you maybe some other reasons why your videos aren't working and what Hollywood is doing to make your videos bingeable, repeatable, and shareable. I'll link that below and I'll see you there.